Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Tapped In here at Brew Bars and Barbells, where we lift pints and weights. And today we're getting into a craft beer industry story that, in my opinion, hits on something I think every brewery needs to pay a little more attention to going into 2026 and beyond. We're talking about social media. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and thinking, here we go, another person telling brewers to post more reels, more pictures, that's not what this is. Because social media for breweries is not just about posting a nice picture of a pint glass or the can next to the beer. It's not just announcing trivia night, which is so common. It's not just putting up a flyer for a beer release. It's not just happy hour, come drink beer, right? That stuff has its place, but it's like that's the whole strategy. Then the brewery is leaving a lot of the story on the floor. So today I'm looking at an article actually from Brewers Association written by Miss Stephanie Grant, an Atlanta-based content strategist, and I'm gonna click over here. Today's craft beer world, social media and storytelling literally go hand in hand. So, and honestly, I think it's not optional anymore. It's a need that's going to be a part of it. So I'm going to jump over. That right there is the whole thing, right? Because good social media is not just good looking content. Good social media has a reason behind it. And so it has a direction, consistency, a voice, a purpose, and it knows what story it's actually trying to tell. Now, for me, this is my take on this. A lot of breweries already have great stories, they just don't capture them. They have brewers working on excellent recipes and they have staff talking to customers, right? They have the events bringing people in together. You got your trivia, your bingo, your karaoke, paint night, stuff like that. They have regulars who feel like family. And so they've even went about and got local ingredients that source locally to give the flavor of that region, right? They have killer can art. They do amazing collabs, not only with fellow brewers and breweries, but they also use like a local coffee roaster. They use, let's say a local band is doing an event, so they build that beer and that can label around that band. For instance, this can back here, the DDH 214 that I've spotlighted on my page, and you can go check it out on Instagram. That was a big one for veterans, right? A bunch of breweries, veteran-owned breweries and staff came out, had a great time, and it was for Fisher House of Charleston, basically a house that can house veterans when they need help at the VA, right? It's no cost to them, right? Big reason for a great collab to go through. And I mean, these breweries have history, right? Something super cool is Wild Heart Brewing out of Hartsville, South Carolina. They came out of their brewery was an old feed store and they kept the layout and everything. Like, if you've ever walked into their brewery, you will see it's like a pit where all the brewing gets done. That is a part of who they are. It is a part of their history. And that stuff like that needs to get told, right? People make mistakes. They've learned lessons. They take wins. They have long brew days, packaging days, taproom moments, right? And all of these behind the scene things like footage that people would actually care about isn't getting recorded or shown, right? They think it's kind of messy, nuance, right? But if nobody documents it, nobody sees it. And so, and if nobody sees it, then that story only lives within the building, within those people working there, right? And, you know, uh, there's so many more opportunities to tell that story and get people involved, get the people connected to your brand, right? Your taproom experience might be great. Your beer might be great. The staff is awesome, right? But for a lot of people, their first impression of your brewery is not just walking through the front door anymore. We all know, we all have phones. And so, like, you're talking about they're seeing you on their phone first. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Google, Yelp if they're still using that. It's a reel someone shared to their friend, right? It's a post that someone posted. They'll see my stuff. They'll see my post, they'll reshare it. So then their friends will see it. And so it's a story from a brewery that didn't even know existed 5 minutes ago, right? But someone connected to it. That's why I focus on telling the story. That way I can get the story out. Because if owners are have the availability to sit down with me or the brewers, I can kind of get to know everything and form that story around that. So that way you, as an audience as well, could learn about it. And so the online presence is the front door before the front door. And so what's really cool about Allagash's basically content is one of the strongest parts of the article is when Liz Wilson, yeah, their senior marketing manager, they talk about there's three big content buckets, right? She says on here, let me scroll down real quick. They got basically three like a ladder, right? Three main ideas. So you got good company. They want you to drink their beer and they want you to come visit them, right? It's simple, but it's strong. Um, I love that. Uh, I love that because it gives the content a filter, right? It helps answer the question, why are we posting this, right? That question matters because when breweries don't have a filter, social media becomes panic posting basically. You're just gonna whip anything you can out there, right? It becomes, oh no, it's Wednesday, we haven't posted anything. Somebody take a picture of a beer. No context. There's no real heart behind it, and like people can see that. And so I read comments, I check comments, I see how everyone's doing because I can kind of give heads up to the brewery or the contact manager, give them a little heads up of maybe what they're not seeing or hearing out in the public, right? And so that's why strategy matters because when you know your buckets, like you know that focus point, you're not just starting from zero every time. You already know the lane that you basically want to talk about. So for brewbuds and barbells, I think about it the same way. The beer, the story, people, the industry, the active lifestyle connection, right? The education behind what's in that beer. That gives everything a place. For a brewery, maybe the buckets are who we are, what we brew, why this place matters, what's happening this week, what makes our community different than others. That alone can change everything because you're not just posting random content anymore. You're building a brand that people actually can connect with. And so, here's the part that I really want to lean into, right? Social media cannot just be one person trapped in a corner trying to create this stuff out of nowhere. It has to be a team effort. The owner needs to understand the goal. The brewer needs to understand the value of it. The taproom staff needs to understand that moments are happening all around them and that the sales team can even communicate what they're seeing in the market. And so the events planners actually can share what's coming up, so that way everybody can not just understand when they're showing up to work, but like what they can expect coming up and like what the trends are for that event. So the people that are running social medias need access, trust, and support because if social media, if your social media person isn't the last person to know, because if the social media person is the last person to know what's going on, the content is going to feel thin and really disconnected. So that's not always their fault. You can't tell great stories from outside of the room forever. At some point, the brewery has to let the storyteller inside on the process. The brew days are great. That's a great opportunity. That can mean content all day, videos, pictures, interviews, little clips here and there, capturing the canning line, explaining why a certain malt was used. That's something I would like to lean more into. Showing how a beer name came together. If you're just winged it, all right, cool, you winged it. But if there's a story behind it, that matters. Basically, letting the taproom staff talk about their favorite pour, showing the community side, show why the beer matters beyond just 4.8% and it's I don't know, American lager, right? And so this is where the content starts to feel real, and real is what people are connecting with now. One last thing is social media is, I think for breweries need to understand is that social media is not just marketing, it's customer service. It's literally the community building portion of it. It's storytelling, sales support, literally proof of life in some ways. Because if someone finds a brewery page and the last post was 8 weeks ago, they might wonder that, like, is anything really happening over there? Or something that, like, I don't know, what it grinds my gears a little bit is if I just see a brewery only post like trivia nights or events, does that mean that your beer isn't, you have no new beers coming out? Or is there anything that you're missing that you're probably not even bringing up, right? I get it. It sounds harsh, but like we all do it. If you look up a restaurant, a gym, a barbershop, whatever it is, the online presence, if it looks dead, it kind of changes immediately how you start thinking about it. And so that doesn't mean the brewery needs to post 5 times a day. Of course not. I've done social media for a breweries, and so like it doesn't need to be required like that, but you gotta kind of know that there is a pulse to it. You know, what's on tap, what's the vibe, what events are happening. Are you doing anything special coming up for holidays? Is it You're just basically saying that this place is worth visiting, and so these are the questions social medias can kind of answer before a customer ever walks in. And this is where the authenticity comes in, because I don't think breweries need to look like Allagash. Um, they could actually just take it and just kind of run with it. Really, the lesson is understanding yourself as clearly as they understand themselves. That's a big difference. A small rural brewery should not sound like a polished national brand. And like I just mentioned, any of these smaller breweries, they don't have to be Budweiser or anything like that. A neighborhood tap room should not pretend to be something that it isn't. A lager focused brewery should not be chasing pastry stouts just because it was a trend, because it gets likes, basically. If the beer and the brewer makes sense, like they want that and they figured it out, they got something unique with that story. Literally, there's a story. A brewery with a rough around the edges garage feel should not scrub off all the personality. That's why I've kind of really embraced where I'm at. And so the goal is not perfect. It's real, clear, and consistent. This is what makes people trust you, really. And in craft beer, trust matters because people want to feel they know the brewery. If they've met the owner, there's a connection to that. There's like, oh man, I met the owner of this business. They make it a point to come talk to me, or the brewers, or anything like that. Something other than like the front door staff, right? It gives people a reason to care. So, in my opinion, what brewers can really learn from this article is first, create content buckets, basically. Know the main stories your brewery wants to tell. It doesn't matter if you're an in house, you have a brick and mortar, or you're a contract brand, or anything like that. Second, get out of the marketing bubble. The article talks about being curious and being active in different ways, like around the brewery. The stories are already happening. You just got to find them. And third, make social media a team effort, really. If a person is running content that is unsupported, your brand voice is going to suffer. Stop treating social media kind of like an afterthought. I know it's tough because so many people work multiple roles, right? um, if you may find someone that can kind of help you. I mean, I know I don't mind if I get ever asked, hey man, can you come out and come out to a brew day? I've done it before. I've come out, take some pictures, help you out, right? So, not every post has to scream, buy this beer right now. Sometimes the post should make people understand the beer or the brewery or the process or the people that work there. That place will literally make them feel like I want to go check them out, right? And that's powerful. So here's my final take, guys. In today's craft beer industry, making great beer is still the foundation, no question. But great beer alone does not guarantee attention. There is too much competition, too many options. I mean, guys, I live right next to Charleston, like downtown Charleston, and it is ridiculous how much competition in that city alone is. So people have a lot of options, too many drinks, fighting for the same customer. So breweries have to do a better job at showing why they matter, and not in like a fake way or a forced way, but by turning every staff member basically into an influencer, by telling the truth better than anyone else around you. So show the beer, the work, the people, the tap room, the community. Show that story. That's what I want to really hone in on, because social media is not replacing the brewery experience, but it is basically a window into it. And they'll see a place that they want to visit, a brand they want to support, And before that, man, you got loyal customers coming back and even telling your story for visitors to come in. So, guys, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow along over on my Instagram, brewpods underscore and underscore barbells. And I'm going to keep, bringing craft beer news, brewery stories, industry breakdowns, and my take on what all this means to me because there's always more going on behind the pint than people realize. And guys, I'm Bennett with Brewbods and Barbells. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Cheers.